Paul Palier says, I've attended American high school and I was surprised that students don't learn about their own grammar. What do you think about that? Now, this is, I think, both true and untrue in a certain way. I think it's true in the sense that we don't often learn in a very systematic way, except for maybe a certain small period of time in English class. This is an adjective. This is a preposition. This is how these pieces work together. Now, there are different education systems. There are private schools, charter schools, public schools, homeschool. I was homeschooled, and then I went to a public high school. And so there's a lot of variation here. So I wouldn't say 100% no, they don't, but I would agree that there's a lack of emphasis on those specific grammatical pieces in the public education system. And while that might come up in a few lessons here and there, or there might be some modules on that in a certain year of school, definitely not a focus, like in the education systems of other countries with other languages, learning the grammar of your language. So, if I were to walk up to someone on the street in Times Square near where I live, I would say to them, what is a preposition? And I would get probably, my guess, 80% of people would say, I don't know. What is a preposition? What is that? I think they would know adjective because that one's so common in the language. But if I said, what's a preposition? They would say, preposition? I don't know. They would just guess something. And then the remaining percentage would probably know. Something like that. Something like that. And if you got really in-depth, right? And you said, what is a subjunctive mood? Or if you said, what is a prepositional phrase, right? What is an adverbial? What is it? What is a modal verb, huh? What is an intransitive verb? Tell me. They would say, stop asking me questions, strange man. Go away. And I would say, okay, goodbye. I did that. I went up to people in Times Square and I asked them these questions, and most of them did not know. You can check out that video if you like. Now, does that mean they're not learning grammar? The answer to that, I think, is no. It's just learned in a different way. It's learned more practically through practice, reading, exercises, and feedback. So while it might not be often as systematic as what you're suggesting, you're writing short essays. You're learning how to compose an essay. Using all of those pieces, it's not like you're not using prepositions and intransitive verbs. You are. You're using them, but you might not know what it is called when you use it. What's more important? Well, I would say knowing how to use something is much more important than memorizing what it's called, right? So I would say it's incorrect to say that we don't learn it. We do learn it, just in a different way. The education system does teach it, just in a different way. Punctuation. How to use punctuation. You practice punctuation when you're composing sentences, when you're answering discussion questions, right? Many students in all grades have to do a lot of writing. They then usually have to base that writing on something they've read, so they're getting information and examples of good writing. They're processing it. They're writing their own thoughts or summaries or whatever it is about that, and this is through all grades of school, once they can write, and then they're getting feedback on that from the teacher. You used this word incorrectly. Circle this word. This is a weird phrase. You used it the wrong way. Punctuation mark, incorrect. This whole sentence sounds unclear and could be simplified, right? Slice this sentence in two, put a period here instead of a comma. What is that? It's grammar. It's grammar. So the entire education process is learning grammar throughout the years without that emphasis on this is called this, that is called that. That might be forgotten. That is probably forgotten if it is learned at all. Do I think it's important to learn those things, the names of things? No, I don't. I don't think that someone has to know what that's called. If you're a native English speaker and you know how to write well and you don't know what those pieces are called, those grammatical pieces are called, and you can't explain the grammar to someone, I think it doesn't matter. If you can express yourself clearly and use it correctly, the usage correctly, good. And I think overall, the education system does provide that. Gives people the ability to use grammar naturally in correct context, either in writing or speaking or whatever it may be. This is, by the way, in addition to the fact that they're growing up in a native English-speaking country. It's their first language, and so they're speaking it correctly because it's all around them, and they've learned it from the time that they were a baby. Right? Now, should you learn it? Well, for the purposes of understanding what someone like me is explaining when they explain things about prepositions or phrasal verbs, I think you should. Just because it's useful if I say, all right, now let me teach you about a phrasal verb. You say, phrasal verb? What the heck is a phrasal verb? So first, it is useful to know what that is. So for you guys, I would say, yeah, learn the names. That will help you grab onto ideas more quickly when you hear those ideas being talked about by a teacher in a video or some book that you're reading. It can help you. But is it the most important thing? No, it's still not the most important thing for you. It's good to know. It's good to know that that's what it's called, so that when you hear someone say that preposition, you know what they mean when they say that preposition because you know the word preposition. That's good. That's good. But the most important thing is that you know how to use the different prepositions, that you have a deep understanding of how to put a sentence together so that it's natural, right? I have so many times heard someone say, yes, I know exactly what a preposition is. Oh, yes, I know exactly what an adverb is. I know all the pieces of grammar. And then I see a written composition, and it looks like it's been written by a second grader. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen that. In fact, I don't think I've ever in my entire life, and I've been working with students for over 9 years, in my entire career of English language teaching, I have never had someone hand me a piece of writing and say, read this, and I've looked at it and said, oh my God, it's perfect. You didn't make any mistakes. You demonstrated a perfect understanding of grammar, usage, everything. Amazing. Here it is back. Never, ever, never, never. There have been some that have been close. But by and large, there's too much of a focus on all the names and understanding the ideas. And I know what this piece is, but can you put it all together? And that should be the focus. That should be the emphasis. And it's mind-blowing to me how even English learners who are very good at speaking, even very good speakers of English, are often terrible writers. Terrible. So I think you should work on your writing. I think you should become a good writer. I think it's very important. Because if you're a good writer, it's going to actually help you become a better communicator. People will take you seriously when they read your emails. And it's also going to help inform your ability to speak in English. Very important. Very, very important. By the way, guys, I have 3 English writing courses coming out this year. 3 of them. And I think, and 1 grammar course. Yes, 4 courses that are relevant to this. So if you haven't already, make sure you check out my links in the description. You can check out my full courses. I think they're pretty good. A lot of people like them. So you can check out those courses. I have almost 50,000 students taking my courses. Actually, I have more than 50,000. If I count all the platforms, more than 50,000 students taking my courses. Average reviews, 4.5 stars out of 5. I think I'm one of the highest rated teachers on all the platforms. And so I would recommend that you check out the links in the description. They're not that expensive. If you're investing in yourself and you really want to improve, check out my courses. Or if you're on my website, you can actually sign up for a membership, meaning that you can pay a certain amount each month automatically and access all of my courses for that small amount. So check that out. Again, link in the description. There is a 20% discount if you click on the link because you're watching here. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. That would be great. And also, subscribe.